got to turn that on. All right, welcome to the Natrona County Parks Board meeting for March 10th. Go ahead and call the meeting to order. Let's go with some roll call. Jim?
Jim Miller here.
Go ahead.
Doug Irvin here.
Michael Brown here.
And Stuart Hill. All right, first on our agenda here is the approval of the December 16th meetings minutes. Let's go with that one. Anybody?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
All right, any questions, concerns, discussion? All right, let's go ahead and pass that one, approved. And January 13th, minutes for approval.
I'll make a motion to approve the January 13th minutes.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All right, being none, we'll go ahead and approve those. All right, reports. Michael, would you like to take it from the Trail Center, please? Mountain Parks.
So the Casper Mountain Trail Center, the contract is currently being negotiated with the county attorney and Amundsen Associates. That contract may be awarded at the March 15th BOCC meeting, depending on the March 15th work session. We had a selection committee of 7 that interviewed the architects that proposed on that, and Amundsen was chosen by that selection committee to be presented to the BOCC. So we'll find out next time if that's awarded or not. Grooming on the mountain is going pretty well. The extra snow has been a help. Biathlon Club's been grooming over there on their side, and the county's been grooming the Trail Center. Grooming will end April 1st, so that's actually coming up fairly soon.
So it'll start snowing thereafter.
Yeah, we'll probably have a large snow after
But
that.
they've closed that April 1st for years.
Yeah.
This is not new.
Yeah, the reason we close April 1st is the mountain crew has to have time to service the groomers and start getting in preparation for the summer season and whatnot. So there's kind of a lag time there, April to May, that we really kind of got to transition, and it's fairly busy. So the wayfinding vehicular sign program for the mountain is at some point, I don't think it's going to make this commission session, but there'll be one final meeting to present the draft to the commission for adoption. And then after that, RDG will advertise for bids and start that process. The Wayfinding Sign Subcommittee went through it pretty significantly. I got a response from RDG here that basically they did everything they could that was requested at last meeting. There's a couple of minor things because it doesn't fit on the sign, and they didn't remove the sign for the slash pile. They added a new sign at the Crimson Dawn turn light, but they didn't quite understand what I was saying. So one minor correction on the sign, and we're good to go.
That'd be nice to get done. Thank you.
Yeah. As for the bear shelters, I was actually up there Monday morning with the engineering firm surveyors and showed them the proposed accesses. It was fairly crusty, so they walked in, but I wore my skis just to make sure. But that will also be discussed at the March 15th work session. So we'll hopefully get a little more direction from the commissioners on that, but it's been fairly stalled out because we have almost 3 feet of snow up in the trees there. The Wyoming Land and Water Conservation Fund grant, which was for 4 kiosks, 2 at Bear Trap, 1 at Archery Range, and 1 at the Biathlon Club, has gone forward to the next step, and I don't think we're gonna hear much until June on that, on how that process is going. The last thing on the mountain is Crimson Dawn. There will be a parks work session scheduled for March 22nd at 5:30 in this room here. to foster communication and better understand priorities, to start the discussion on an MOU, and Crimson Dawn is seeking historical registration, so we'll have to start to get into discussions on that, what kind of limitations that puts on parks to operate in Crimson Dawn there, and several things. So that meeting will kind of open that up, and we'll start looking at that.
And Eric's going to be involved,
I believe Eric will be there.
so we can get the legal,
Yeah, the county attorney.
where
will
we're
be
at
there.
for how the county is handling that one. Yeah, I'm not sure about that designation, but okay.
And then we'll move on to the lakes. Pathfinder campground improvements for Diabase, Weiss, and Sage. WWC Engineering's been out there. They've done drone flights, ground surveys. They've investigated in new dock configuration. And so that right now they're preparing the topo drawings from their survey and a conceptual design. And so hopefully in the next month, we'll start seeing some of that information presented, and we can start looking at that and starting to figure out a way to present it to the public and Parks Department, Parks Board, and whatnot. Last thing on the mountain is, or it's not really a mountain, it's the mountain and the lakes. The camping reservation system. We are currently working on changing to a new vendor. We had training today in my office for the office staff to be able to work with that. And we're working through the kinks and learning it. There'll be additional training on Tuesday, so we're hoping to get it up and running soon. But I do not have a good timeline for that. Before the training, I was kind of thinking late March, March 22nd, 24th, somewhere in there. However, there's a few things that might postpone that a little bit more.
Okay. What do you
But-
think of it so far?
On the backside, it's pretty good. There's some communication issues that may be difficult when working with customers and whatnot, but we're looking into that to see how we can kind of smooth that out.
And it can handle the taxes and everything?
Yeah, it handles the taxes, it takes care of all that. And on that note, the commissioners approved in a work session that we have to collect the taxes. So on first come, first served campgrounds that have been $10 for a number of years, those are going to $12. The reason they're going to $12 is we have to collect lodging tax and sales tax. Now, that's a 12% total tax combined. That'd be $1.20 on $10. However, trying to handle coins in the envelopes and whatnot, we just kind of bumped it to the 12. That's for applicable fees and taxes, so.
Now, do we have to change the park rules for that?
No.
'Cause I believe it's stated in there.
In the parks rules, it says it's up to the discretion of the commission to be able to change that. And so that's why we went to them first.
Okay.
And so we'll be issuing some press releases on that and putting up new signs at all the kiosks where you pay. We've got new envelopes ordered. And in the meantime, we have envelopes that we've manually adjusted. So,
Okay.
we're in the off-season right now, not very many people camping. So hopefully we'll have those up April 1st.
Now, the other ones change? The full hookup?
Well, everything that's in the reservation system will stay, the primitive will be $10 a night still. And taxes will be collected, and then the full hookups will still be $35 with taxes collected. But because we don't have to handle money, cash there, that's all taken into account digitally. So that's why we didn't bump those up. We had to manually collect the taxes on the first come, first serve, and we just didn't want to be doing nickels and
Okay.
dimes and quarters.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just not very, from an operating standpoint, it's very difficult, so.
I've asked a few times, do we have the numbers from how much we collected last year and compared to the years before? I wanted to see if it's any different for how much we collected
I
on.
have some of them.
Okay, I'd sure like to see
I will look
those.
at that.
I would think it would be more, but I'd like to know.
Yeah.
Just be interesting to
Yeah,
compare
yeah, exactly.
first year.
And
reservation
also
to
with the
prior.
reservation system, currently, full hookups, all of Casper Mountain, Oakey Beach, and Black Beach are on there. However, we are taking Black Beach out of the reservation system for this season because Cordes Road will be under construction. We do not know the closures, schedule of closures, delays, rerouting through Fremont Canyon to get there. So we don't want people making a reservation that are coming from out of town to spend a night or two and not being able to get in there. So we're making it first come, first serve, and if somebody wants to camp there, they can do that through the envelope system. But that way we're not, that way somebody making long-term reservation isn't blocked out because we don't know the construction schedule.
Okay. We're going to keep the mountain campgrounds on the reservation? I know we talked about
Yes,
removing at least one of those.
we're investigating possibly putting some of those sites on a short-term reservation window instead of a 90-day. We're looking into seeing if we can't take some of Bear Trap and put it on a 3-day window or something like that. To give the opportunity, we want to prevent handling cash as much as we can.
Absolutely.
That's the way the world's going. But we're looking at maybe putting that on a shorter window, where, you can reserve it 3 days before you plan on going. That way it'll give the similar opportunity of first come, first serve. So,
Okay,
but that's a work in progress, so we haven't set that in stone yet.
all right.
That is all I have for the evening, so I'll answer any questions or anything you guys may have.
Questions, gentlemen?
Yeah, just a comment. Once we get established of when the new system's going live and these changes in which campgrounds are going to be first come, first serve, and which ones are going to be full res, let's make sure we update the website with that on the campground page.
Yep.
Just so,
Yeah, we'll update the website, we'll issue several press releases. The kiosks will have the new rate for first come, first serve. Yeah.
Great.
So it'll come along here.
Yeah, definitely get the word out on that road being closed off and on this summer
Yep.
too, yeah. Jim, you got any questions?
I don't.
Okay. So Pathfinder, you will see something here in the next month or so. We'll get an opportunity to see what their drawings are.
Oh, yeah, definitely. There'll be, we'll review it internally and then probably review it with you guys and then have a public.
Get the public
We'll
involved.
probably
yeah.
review it with the county commissioners as well before doing a public kind of open house on it.
Okay,
and for the Wyoming Land and Conservation Trust, are they opening up a second round of applications this year, or we have any ideas for if we're going to go for
I'm not
another
sure,
set, or?
I'm not sure if they are or not,
Okay.
so.
I didn't know if that was an annual thing that every year they have them, or?
I would have to look at the application to find that out.
okay, any more questions or concerns on the report?
Nope.
All right, I guess at this point, we'll open it up for public comment. Anybody in the public like to comment? Yep. Please state your name and your address, too.
My name is Deborah Bean. My address is 2955 Central Drive, Casper, Wyoming. I understood that you said you spoke with Anderson that's doing the cross-country ski lodge. Was any amount mentioned on what the cost would be coming in on that?
There was, however, I don't want to discuss that because the contract is still under negotiation.
Oh, it's not
Oh.
finalized till?
Yeah, it's not
Okay.
finalized, so once that's finalized, we can
Yeah, makes,
put that as public,
Okay.
yeah.
on the lake camping areas, I heard you say about full hookups. Did I also hear you say about on the mountain full hookups?
Oh, no, no.
I know,
I jumped back and forth, so
Okay, I'm going,
all of the mountain
Why
is
do you do that?
primitive, there's no water available up
Yeah.
there or anything, yeah.
okay, I thought, maybe they really have a plan.
Not that big
I
a
had
one.
to ask, yeah. And then the reservations at the lake for the camping spots. When it used to be that you put your money in the envelope, and it was what, $10, $7, whatever? Was tax included at that time?
Not at that time. There's been a state statute that requires that we collect sales tax and lodging tax.
Okay.
And that was passed last year.
Last year. I remember the lodging tax, and I missed that it said
Yeah.
sales tax too. Why would the lodging, more revenue generated? I guess we don't know what.
We don't know, we're
Why
not the
they-
legislators.
Why they did.
I know
Yeah.
State parks are doing exactly the same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
It was specifically closing the loophole of campgrounds that were previously excluded from this, so the statute
And it did that.
closed that.
And the whole
loophole.
idea of, I know it was instituted, doing reservations online when that gentleman was here as the new park manager, I guess, at the time. But was it a matter of convenience that we did it when he suggested? Was it not working before, first come, first served basis kind of thing? Or what was the bottom line premise behind it? I never did hear.
From my, and I've only been here about a year, from my understanding, the reason to go to reservation system is to minimize the handling of cash, because on a Fourth of July weekend, there's a lot of money in those boxes and things. So to do that, to better track who's coming and using our parks is another reason. And then with the reservation system, it gives us a little bit more control, a little better experience, because we don't have 4 and 5 trailers packed into a campsite. So I don't know if you've been out at Okie Beach last year, but people are more spread out. It's not wall-to-wall camping, so overall, it's a better experience by handling that. And then it allows people to kind of plan a little bit better. You know, there's times when you try to go up on the mountain for a weekend and you get up there and there's not a single site. So with a reservation system, you know you have a site. You know you have a place when you latch onto your trailer Friday night to go up there for a couple of nights. Where, I mean, I've gone up there in the past and we basically turned around and come home. So,
So do I understand that our friends that have a camper we can't camp side by side out there? You can
If you
only have
reserve
one.
them next to each other, yes, you can.
No,
In
on
the-
one site.
not at this time.
Why is that?
You can in the first come, first serve still, because we don't want to overcrowd the campgrounds. Now, we
How
are
large
looking.
are the spots then?
What's
I
that?
don't know what the size of the spots are. Do they not accommodate too, that it crowds or?
Some may not at this time. We are, at Pathfinder, we're looking into multiple party campsites when they redevelop that. And we're also looking at where we can possibly do that at Alcova, if there's a campsite that could handle 2 or 3 trailers, to change that for that specific site. But it's a crowding issue, and so we just want to give people a better experience. So, you know, if a group goes out, they can reserve 3 sites next to each other, to just be spaced out.
If it's a group of friends who are really not crowding each other, they're doing it intentionally to be together kind of thing?
Yeah, we didn't have any troubles with it last year at all.
I just didn't know
Yeah.
what the reason was that only.
Safety is a bunch of it too, and
And managing impact
security.
to the site,
Mhm,
because
yeah.
there's groups that are conscientious, and there's groups that aren't. So,
And we are, like I said, we are looking into where we could possibly do that type of camping, where you could have 2 or 3 trailers on the same site.
yeah, where the site and campground was specifically developed with that in mind for,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's,
So we know people like to do that.
yeah.
that's kind of the thing of going out there to be with your friends and stuff.
Yeah, there's still campgrounds that are free-for-all in
Yes.
terms of that up there.
Yes.
It's just some of the newer ones are on the reservation system, and they're trying to enforce the occupancy to maintain what it was designed for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can reserve those up to 90 days out right now, so, we're looking for input. What do people think about the 90 days? Is that too much? 60 better, is 30 better? We need comments.
Yeah, I mean.
We really
there's so
haven't
many
received
factors,
any.
Do a lot of people know, and are they really sure that from now to then, their life's gonna be solid and plannable?
Right.
Weather, of course, is a factor, stuff happens,
Yep.
Yeah, okay, thank you guys.
Thank you, Deborah. Appreciate it. Any more public comment? Got one more.
Battery died.
Technical difficulties.
Swear to God.
Yeah, there we go.
I can talk loud enough.
Yeah.
There you go.
It is a good thing, Wyoming Run. One day.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Corson. I live at 242 South Lennox in Casper, Wyoming. And I'm sorry I came in late to your meeting, so I didn't hear everything you said about the camping going on out at Alcova. We like to group camp, and there's 4 or 5 of us that normally do group camp, and we couldn't last year because of the new regulations. But we weren't ones that overcrowded one slot camping. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So I have pulled up the maps for Black Beach and Okie Beach, and I have recommendations for group camping and how many units can get into those campsites that are feasible and not overcrowding.
And I'm familiar with those sites. We are actually investigating some of that. It's a matter of implementing it and making sure, but I'd be more than happy to
Okay.
take your recommendations. and
Okay, I
see
can bring
what
it to
we
you.
can
We did camp last year. I guess we went against the rules. A friend of mine camped in slot 10. I booked 9, but I camped in 10. My spot was reserved, but somebody came along later, next day, and camped in my spot. So obviously they camped for free because nobody was there and nobody checked it. So that is an issue, but I did pay for my spot. So if they needed to come knock on my door, I had paid my fee. We do like to camp at Black Beach a lot. And as for the 90 days out, we were looking at 90 days and we still can't get on the reservation site because it's still
Yes,
down.
currently it's under maintenance because we're changing vendors. And so it's very difficult to transfer the reservations from the current one, and that's why it's blocked out right now. We're hoping to have that up the end of this month, but it's a process, and we're trying to get there. You can group camp at any of the first come, first serve, West Side, Fremont, Cottonwood, all of Pathfinder right now.
We do know that, and we've tried to do that in the
Yeah.
past. We do like the reservation point, because then we can go out there and we know we've got a spot. We have also pulled a unit out there to reserve a spot in prior years past and had someone stay out there nightly, so we would have that spot for the special holiday weekends, and that's a pain in the patootie,
Yes, it
honestly.
is.
And then people go out there and they drop their trailer, but nobody's there for days,
Yep.
and it was never enforced.
Well, and we are working on the enforcement issue. Last year was difficult at the lake. We'd like to have 4 caretakers, seasonal caretakers, to help check camping permits and clean up. We had 2. So we were short-staffed and just trying to do our best. And I think overall it went pretty well, but, we need your guys' feedback on that.
You know, a 30-day window, a 2-week window, I think is great, to make your reservations. Because then, like she said about weather and stuff comes up, oh, somebody's got a baseball game, we want to go to that instead, because that's come up. But we've had to book at state sites 120 days out,
Right.
And so we just booked at a state site for the 4th of July weekend, and hopefully gas isn't $7 a gallon by then. And we can still go, you know? So, anyway, I have written down what my suggestions are for the group sites. And I can tell you, number 10 at Black Beach, we've had 4 units in there comfortably. It's the one with the long driveway, and never had a problem getting in and out with boats or whatever. And then I know we've had 4 units in the past at Black Beach number 1. And we like to, I'm going to call it caravan, to where we
Sure.
make,
Circle
circle them up,
and-
circle them
yeah,
up.
you bet. Yeah, please hand it to Michael. One thing you may have missed is that we are taking Black Beach off the reservation system this year because the Cordis Road is being repaired. It may be
So
closed at
access will be-
times, so.
It's a major
Unpredictable.
construction this year, so there could be delays and closures that we just don't want somebody to have a reservation and not be able to get to their site, so.
Do you know when those are going to be?
When the construction is,
Yeah,
it's, they had a pre-construction meeting last week, so I think they're getting pretty soon
okay,
started on it, but it'll go through the summer
okay.
for sure.
The
And
road
so-
definitely needs fixed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
It's
so
gonna
there
be
may,
ugly.
Black Beach may be open, but you may have to go through Fremont Canyon to get there.
Not a problem.
Or it may be closed off completely. I don't know
Okay.
those details yet. That's why
Okay.
we decided to take it out as.
Are you guys planning on, at one point in time, there was plans to totally revamp Black Beach? Is that still on the table?
It's still
or
in
is
the
it-
master plan, you bet it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right now, we're gonna work on Pathfinder,
Okay.
and then.
We like
after
to
that-
group camp there too, so if you
There
can
you
make
go.
some group spots
This is
out
more
there.
Dye Base up by the marina area, the 3 campgrounds up there
Yeah,
with
all
Dye Base,
3
Sage,
campgrounds.
and, what's the other?
Weiss.
Weiss.
So all
Weiss,
three
we were at
campground-
Weiss.
All of them are being engineered right now. They're-
Okay.
They're looking at it and they're gonna come up with concept plan. And multiple unit camping is part of that.
Okay.
Like you said, the wagon wheel, the circle, however you wanna say it, but sites like that are actually being looked at if we can put those out there.
Okay.
So-
You know, us personally, we don't necessarily need a wagon wheel. If
Right.
there's just enough space, we circle them the way we like to. So, make a box, whatever. But, you know, my suggestion also would be for Black Beach, Cottonwood, whatever you're choosing to do where it's another reservation system, is a lot of the state parks, the group wheel or whatever you want to call it, sites, are nowhere near the water. So my suggestion would be to make a couple of group sites that are by the water for us that have boats and stuff that want to utilize that
Yeah, you
access.
You bet,
So,
you bet.
and do we know what I can't, like I said, it came in late, the price is going up on fees?
So we have to collect sales and lodging tax now under Wyoming statute.
Okay,
So under the reservation system, those will be collected in addition to the credit card fee that you've dealt with last year. And the new system has a $5 reservation fee,
okay,
similar to the state parks. But if you reserve 1 day, it's $5. If you reserve 10, it's $5, whatever your reservation is. And even with that involved, it is still less than Glendo and Boysen and the Bighorns.
because they're
The
state
base
parks.
fee
Yeah,
isn't changing.
because our base fee is still $10
Okay,
and the full hookups is still $35.
okay,
And then the first come, first serve will be $12, because that'll include the base fee of $10 plus applicable fees and taxes.
okay.
So,
So we're looking at $12 a night for first come, first served sites?
yes.
Okay, and will that still be payment envelope
Yep,
type thing? So
Yep.
Black Beach is going back to first come, first
for
served?
this year only,
Okay,
while they do the construction.
okay, all right, thank you.
You're very welcome, and pay attention to what we're up to, because here in maybe a month or so, we will hopefully have a public meeting on what is going on at Pathfinder.
Okay.
So we can all take a look at it. We're very excited to see those drawings, and
And feedback at the design stage of these new campgrounds will be very valuable, because these are going to be templates that we use for any other new campgrounds that we develop.
And I'd like to put it out there, feel free to email the Parks Department. It's parks@natronacounty-wy.gov, or feel free to call there. You can ask for me, and I can field any questions you want. We don't have to wait for a meeting. If you have questions or ideas or comments, I'm more than happy to discuss those at any time.
All right, any more public comment?
I do have a couple more questions that I heard. You need my name again?
No, I don't. Go ahead, Debbie.
I heard you mention that you were going to look at getting some people to, not supervise, but to go through. the
Caregivers.
ca-
Yeah,
there you go.
Caretakers.
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 Takers.
And
Sometimes they
I
are.
did previously here a while back, we used to have one there at Bear Trap, and I think that sense has gone away. And they were looking for a volunteer for that position. Will they be volunteers at the lake too, or are they looking at maybe
No.
a paid
So-
person to be there and check
Our
campgrounds?
seasonal caretakers are county employees or, for the season. We will have at least one on the mountain and 4 at the lake. And I'm currently reviewing applications at this time to find personnel for those positions for the season.
Okay. My concern was the mountain, mostly because there's so many campfires that are not put out. And I feel to have a full-time person up there that will go and check all of those camp spots, especially weekends.
Yeah, our caretakers.
Are you
go through
volunteering?
daily.
We did last summer. We put out 5, yeah, we did with our four-wheeler and water can, put out 5 fires that were left. But when you're invested there,
Yeah.
you feel different. So I just thought if there was a full-time one, maybe that would make people aware that somebody's there and they're checking and not to trash the place and to make sure the fire's out, and a public notice to bring water to put it out, because there was none. So, yeah, that's good to hear they're going to get some.
We're trying.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments? One more time for public comments. Dave, you have any comments? No. Wow, nothing from our liaison. All right, board comments. Jim?
Just a quick, short comment. Commissioner Kaufman's leaving us as a commissioner, and I would just like to thank her for all what she has done for the city and for the county, and she surely will be missed. I would thank her for her support with the advisory board and whatnot, and we'll miss her.
We will. I'll echo those comments. Doug?
Oh, I don't have anything this time.
Okay. I really don't have a whole lot. We wanted to talk about camping, and we kind of got that out there. So, as Michael said, do call the Parks Department. If you have any questions, those guys are great to work with. We're trying our best, and I think we're going in the right direction. So,